Um, we're going to go over to another. We've been hearing all day today, over and over and over, that you don't necessarily have to race to create value or to get sponsored. Racing is the icing on the cake. Racing adds that credibility. It's a legitimacy. It's what gives you the foundation to create a platform to do something for sponsors. But you don't have to race. You can create value through social media. You can create value through many other ways, and you can be a brand ambassador and do many things for sponsors. So this next session is helping sponsors go viral. Do we have Blake Wilkie? Do we have Guy Trotter, owner of Surface Sun Systems, and Kyle Ahrensberg, owner of Vision Canopy? Do we have them queued up?
Yep, I think it's good. Can you guys hear me?
So yes, I heard you, Kyle. So so we are curious. Why does a young brand, and you guys have relatively new brands compared to, let's say, BF Goodrich or Ford, young brands, what do you look for when sponsoring young athletes that aren't always on the podium? They do race, but they're creating additional media.
Um, well, yeah, I mean, being a pretty early brand, I guess, still, I mean, been a couple of years, but really been very serious about it for the last two. We look for just a really well-rounded product when we looking for a partnership. Um, and it's not always the biggest social media following or the best social media following. It's just kind of what fits into our profile. So we have, athletes and partners, a bunch of them, big, that are all very different. And we kind of pick each one according to what our goal is with that person. So we being a new brand, we look for, obviously sales. We need sales to keep everything going. But we also look for what they're doing on the track, off the track. I mean, that's like kind of where someone like Blake comes in. I mean, he's showcasing his life in front of everybody, and it's all interesting. There's never a dull moment. So it's cool to have someone like that. He fills a big void, and someone like that we can get value out of. Like, instead of partnering up with three people, we can get the same value out of partnering up with one person because they're so versatile.
Well, and talking about that, Kyle, it's Tiffany. Todd Robinson always says, Tiffany, do you know Kyle from Vision Canopy? Do you know Kyle from Vision Canopy? So it's always good to talk to you, Kyle. And talking about that with Blake, you mentioned the B2B and having those partnerships and doing all of those things. And with Blake having such a different outlook on how to create these viral videos, I had a chance to talk to him last weekend, and Blake was just saying, this is stuff that I learned from the desert. This is stuff that, my family and I did. And I always asked him about the colors that he's using and where it all comes from. And, Blake was telling me that he's got a tattoo on his leg for his dad. He's got a tattoo for his mom. He's got a tattoo for his grandma right here on his heart. And a lot of that has played an influence into whom he is and the shreddy lifestyle that he lives. So, talking about that, Kyle, really, what was it about Blake and creating these viral videos? You were like, this is somebody that I want to go and talk to. Because at Off-Road Expo last weekend, he's got his shreddy stuff out there. He's got all of his vehicles. He's out there with the drifting and the racing. He's doing everything to be there. And such a young generation and demographic of kids are coming up and they want to be like Blake. So what was it about Blake that you were like, hey, we need to get this guy. He encompasses what we're trying to go for.
Yeah, I mean, he fills a really big void, and a void that we didn't really have any capitalization on. We have a very wide range of athletes and partners that we work with, and Blake is by far the most different out of all of them. And it's great because he puts us in touch with an audience that we wouldn't be in touch with otherwise. And he's doing viral pieces, and he's so strong with social media and powerful social media, and has such a good, not just following, but engagement on it. And so he just, it just was kind of a clear choice. I mean, there's no one else in this market that we're in that is like Blake. And he's not really even just in this market. He's in, multiple markets that Vision Canopy can benefit from.
Well, you guys are making me blush.
Oh, hi, Blake. Well, and talking about that, since Blake's on here as well, you know, Shreddy did a scavenger hunt at Sand Sports Show. It was a great, great thing to do. You went through 500 bags before the show really kind of took off. You know, it's a 3-day event, Friday night, then we go into Saturday and we have Sunday. But by Saturday afternoon, these were out. So how does somebody like yourself and then also like Blake come together? And I'm going to let Blake answer this one. Blake, how did you come up with these ideas, these promotions, and said, hey, Kyle, these are things that I want to do. What can I do to help not only promote yourself, but myself and make it a collaborative effort?
It was kind of going off of Urban Assault 3. You know, I want to do more to give back to the partners for their support to make this big piece come to life and get more eyes on the partners that helped me kind of fulfill a childhood dream. So, you know, we did sticker packs, we did the giveaway, we did sticker packs. We had a landing page on Shreddy Life's website. We did shirts, we did posters, and then we wanted to do this scavenger hunt. And I didn't realize how impactful it was going to be. And I don't think any of the other partners did. I'm like, 300 to 500, but like 500 cards would have been gone on Friday had we not kept, you know, half of our stash for Saturday's crew, or Saturday's followers and people in the market to come and have something to do. So there's actually people that were mad that they couldn't participate because we ran out of stuff. So it just kind of, I don't know, for me, like I always want to over deliver and under promise. And I think that's something that we really do well with the program. So it's just, you know, adding those things instead of it being a logo on the car and in the video, and sharing exclusive content with them to have kind of first dibs and that recognition from the piece. It's like, how do we go above and beyond to make sure that everybody's happy at the end of this all?
Well, I guess the big question that everybody has, and you are a master of it. If anybody ever wants to deny that, then they're not watching the internet. But you make videos go viral. You do a lot of cool things out there that make a video go viral. So how does this plan even come up? Is it one night you're hanging out with your buddies? This is what we want to do. Is there a bigger meaning? Because we always talk about the macro content that is delivered into micro content. And that's what you've just done with Urban Assault that you're talking about. Macro content, delivering it into a micro one. So really, from you, the Shreddy Life Master, how do you make a content go viral?
That's, you know, we were unsure on what engagement we were going to get from Urban Assault 3. You know, looking up to guys like Ken Block and BJ Baldwin and seeing what they've done, you know, and how they've progressed not only their recognition and footprint in the industries. It was kind of just taking a play out of their playbook, but kind of going with the unknown. I mean, to do it on the level that we did it for Urban Assault 3, it took so much effort and so much work. I mean, it was an 18-month project, and I ended up coming a little out of pocket, but it was, again, to fulfill a childhood dream. So there wasn't a guarantee on it, and definitely was on some pins and needles leading up to the release parties and the launch. But it was so much damn work, and I think it's over 3 million views now, and it really ramped up like after the first week. And the first few days were kind of slow, and then it ramped up. But some of that stuff's hit or miss on YouTube. You know, the engagement that it saw on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok was high, but you know, some of that stuff, I feel like those numbers sometimes can be fudged, you know, depending on the engagement and all this other stuff. But I feel like YouTube's a pretty solid platform to kind of give you real hard numbers. And sometimes it's a gamble. I mean, it's crazy. Sometimes the stupidest videos, like say for social channels, blow up and get multi-millions of views. And then some of the stuff that you try to produce for Instagram that you put a lot of effort into and the edit badass, the music, everything is just like super top notch. It barely gets any views. So it's weird. A lot of different platforms are kind of all over the place, but YouTube was the one that we wanted to see really big viewership and engagement.
Well, and one more thing from that, you know, you said there's no guarantee in any of the content that you produce. you could be, you know, doing a crazy card around and that gets 1 million views. And then you're saying that something that you put so much effort into, music, timing, made sure the edits were right, is nothing. So how does somebody like yourself or anybody that's wanting to produce viral content realize, hey, this went viral, this didn't go viral? So what's a piece of advice you'd give to them to not be discouraged when that piece that you put so much effort does not go viral?
I mean, just keep going, keep trying. I mean, to get to the top of the mountain, you have to take consecutive steps. So each step is going to only build you, and don't be discouraged, because shoot, I mean, I have friends that try super hard in many different avenues, and they're still trying to figure out what works, and I'm still trying to figure it out. So it's just always keep making moves forward, and don't be discouraged, and do your best.
I like it. I feel like the viral content mountain that we speak of has a lot of switchbacks. We think we're just going to go straight up here, but it's switched back all the way back, and it's slowly, finally, before we get there. So I appreciate that, and thank you for all of that. I'm going to head over to Guy Trotter right now. Guy, you are somebody that is in a different market, but a great market. And what we've talked about before when we had a chance to talk about is sometimes you don't always have the money to invest into something going viral, but when people use the product correctly, like you have, sir, that it's going to go viral no matter what. And you want to make sure that you are aligned with people that are going to use those products, the sun products, the sunscreen that you have. And every day it's not in your face, but you've taken a different approach that if my surfers are going out there and they have this sunscreen, that's the first thing that they're going to put on before they head out to the beach.
No, you're right. And it's really, we're a consumer good, right? And we're in the category that we're in, we're an afterthought in most everybody's lives. And our job is, our goal is to make it so that we're, it's an afterthought. The moment they do think of it, they're thinking of surface, and that's always been the goal. And so connecting to the consumer is it's not just a sticker on a car or on a surfboard or on a golf bag. It's a lot more than that for us. And again, Blake and I have known each other for a long time, and Blake just connects those dots for us super well. And those are the most important things. One thing that I think that with Blake saying that, you get these hit and misses going on in social media, and you can't avoid them. No matter how much money you give social media companies, no matter if things happen, there's attractions that do and don't happen on a regular basis, and people's attention spans are really bad. What Blake does really good, and what really resonates for us, is that he makes people want to watch him. So you kind of take this whole other issue off the table when it comes to that, and that is engagement. And engagement happens on both ways. You can pay for the engagement, or you can get it fired, like Blake does, where people literally tune into him after they get home from work or on a Saturday morning or whatever those cases are. So that's the important stuff for us, especially from a consumer afterthought product.
What he's getting at is I'm basically always kooking out.
well, Guy, you were also talking about how Blake, you partnered with him to have him to relate to the blue collar everyday type of person. And that's kind of what it is. I saw him this last weekend at the expo. You have everybody from all demographics, all ages, all walks of life. Like Blake, he's relatable. He is a person that will stop and take the time to chat with you, take the time to sign your shirt, your hero card, anything that. And you said that Blake, every time he's a SoCal kid, he goes out, puts that sunscreen on. It's not necessarily in your face because he's not really trying to push a product. He's using a product that he believes in, and that's what makes it viral. And that is what keeps things like yourself and Kyle wanting to deal with Blake, is for the simple fact that it's not a push on being fake. It is something that he actually really uses and he puts and incorporates in his everyday life. So with that for Blake, really, what was, besides knowing him for so long, knowing his story, his lifestyle, what was one thing that really drawn you to Blake to be like, hey, this is the guy. This is somebody who doesn't fake it. This is somebody who genuinely uses the product and genuinely loves the product.
Yeah, no, great question. The biggest thing is he connects with people. And again, in the spot that we're in the category that we're in, being an afterthought, we need that connection. You need to have those people, those characters, those personalities that really resonate with people. And again, Blake just checked all those boxes. And again, throwing the friendship side thing aside, to your point, Blake connects all those dots, and that's what it's crazy, but and I don't know how much Blake knows about this, but I use Blake as an example with a lot of other athletes that we talk to in other sports. If it's a lot of surfers, I bring Blake up, I show him what he's doing, because again, he's showing that he's connecting in a way that is so organic and so natural for him. And it's like then you start to get involved with all of his buddies that are around him, and you start to learn these guys. Like I don't, Blake and I go, but we had lunch with recently, and I go to his place, and it's like I've seen these guys yesterday, but that's important. That's important in branding. It's important in communication and important in resonating with people. And Blake doesn't, he doesn't fake it to me. He doesn't fake it to most everybody who's around him. He's real, and how he incorporates and integrates, if it's Vision Canopies or if it's, HP tuners or, Revlock or any of these things that are around him, how he incorporates those things into his daily life and speaks about them. Man, that to me is just, that's the quintessential part of what I want my brand to have in its arsenal. These athletes that connect with it, and again, they're this part of their life. You feel like it's not a show. It's just, you're just hanging out with them.
You're absolutely correct. And connecting the dots and connecting brands, we're going to head back over to Kyle real quick. Kyle, we've talked about this before in connecting brands. And not only do you have a person like Blake on your brand and helping you, but also all the companies that Blake knows, you also have not necessarily a direct connection to those brands, but if you're willing and wanting to move into a different space, like you've talked about moving into a brick and mortar space or moving into a different one, Blake is that person because he's connected with you. He's connected with other brands. Now he can bring you two together. How does that feel working with Blake? And is that an important thing when you want to partner with somebody and have certain products or certain brands go viral?
Yeah, that's actually really, really important thing. That's probably one of the most important things that we look for in a partnership. We look for obviously it being a partnership, both ends got to have value. So on our side, the value comes from potential customers and just the brand itself. The brand itself, we pushed really hard into the motorsports category, as you're starting to see us everywhere. But we did that mainly because I love motorsports. Now us pushing into other categories like the surf category and the more lifestyle category. Someone like Blake kind of connects those dots really well because he has followers in kind of all those categories and many more. But just from his so much lifestyle that he puts into his brand. I mean, look at him now. He's in the shop right now working. Took a break to do this. We're like welding on outside. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. The shop is stacked. Sorry to cut you off, but
no, you're good.
But Kyle, I feel like this is what you wanted. Somebody that will show you right away what is happening. And he's making this go viral pretty much right now as well. He's just jumping in on it. And that's what I think that you're trying to showcase, that everybody wants to be a part of something that Blake's doing.
Well, yeah, he makes it achievable. Like some of the other people in the industry, it's really that unachievable aspect that people follow him for, where I think the followers of Blake, they follow him because he makes what he does achievable, like him being able to build these cars and stuff like that. I mean, it takes an incredible amount of work and sacrifice on his side, but he makes it achievable. And that's why he has such a core following and loyal following, because there's a lot of people in this world that want to do the fun things that he does. I don't know if all of them realize the 20 hours a day, every day work. Every time I talk to Blake, he's spread so thin on no sleep, just cranking. But
Yeah.
I don't think people understand that much of it, but it's that they follow him because he makes the unachievable achievable. And that's the glue that connects him to the everyday person. And that everyday person is someone that we're trying to break into hard in that market, as well as the B2B stuff with the other brands like Surface and stuff that that communicate with him and have a relationship with him. So we kind of can do co-branding opportunities with him. And, you know, we can both use each other's products as well.
All right. Before we head over to you, Blake, to see what you're working on, Kyle had mentioned that you are the sparkle of what brings attention to brands. So Kyle, just elaborate just a little bit more on what you mean. What was it about Blake Wilkie that you said, I want to work with him?
Yeah, I think it was, I said, he's, what did I say? He's the star on the Christmas tree.
Of the star on the Christmas tree.
Star on the Christmas tree, because everyone wants a Christmas tree and everyone sees a Christmas tree. But there's that thing that sticks out a little bit more, and that's Blake, just from his personality and stuff like that. He is, you know, he stands out. And, you know, I'm sure like some people are gifted with that personality when they're born, and he's used it to his advantage, and now is, you know, has a massive following from it. So, but yeah, I you know, we were talking about it. That's what kind of we brought up. It was funny. It was like, there's like a Christmas tree, which everyone loves a Christmas tree, but he's the star on the Christmas tree somehow. And it's just like such a unique personality.
I like it. All right, Blake, let's move over to you and see what you're working on and dig a little bit deeper into the mind inside of Blake Wilkie. I know it might be a lot going on in there right now, especially with a bunch of builds and a bunch of content going on. But Blake, really, what are you working on right now that is a little bit different that we might see in the future?
We're working on a new Polaris Pro R build with Doug Matag, which Kyle has basically a sister car to what I hope to have out there for the SCORE International Series next year to race in Mexico. So those wheels got turning on the way to Off-Road Expo last Friday. We're building a new Class 11 car that we are in the works of scanning and developing a chassis for that. So that way, people that want to get into racing, the hardest part is, you know, bending the tube and having all the proper geometry. So we want to be able to offer a weld-it-yourself cage kit so people get into the Class 11 racing stuff. I think Kyle was exposed to the Class 11 this weekend at Off-Road Expo, jumping around with Felix, and they're a hoot. They're fun. They're the most affordable form of racing. By all means. So we want to continue to grow the roots of the industry. Behind me, I'm finishing up the second TT. Behind that shop door, we are doing a bunch of grading to put in and linking some grains together that had a pipe break. So we are linking some stuff together, doing some construction stuff as well. I have a 92 Ford Bronco since we sold my old XJ Hammerhead that we built on the Hoonigan channel. I got a 92 Bronco that with Desolate Motorsports, we're going to do a solid axle, front and rear 1-ton axles, and kind of have something to go play around with, like the Eisenhower, Darren Parsons, and go kind of step into that 4-wheel drive crawling market. Kevin has about half of an Ultra 4 style solid axle bug chassis that we'd like to build in the future. It's just, the biggest thing is time. And one thing it's easier to do is acquire parts than it is for cash sometimes through sponsors. So if I can build more assets that can lead for more good times that have equity, if ever I got to sell something, at least there's equity in it after I have my fun with it and kind of build more content with. Next weekend, we're going to Sandsport Super Show. I might try and make it to the California 300 this weekend. But there's a lot of things I should probably catch up on here since the last like 8 weekends straight have been full kill mode. So it's good. We're going for a points championship again in the Moore Series this year, and we're leading the MP Triple Crown Championship. So it's just all hands on deck every day.
Wonderful. Well, Blake, we only got a few more moments. I just want to ask you one more question before we head over to Guy to end this session. You brought the bug back. You're racing class 11. You're making the bug cool again, is what I've heard from some people. I don't know how you feel about that, but you brought that back. Really, what, you know, in one little sentence, really, what was the idea of bringing the bug, making it cool again? Because that's what a lot of people have said that you've done.
Bring people into the sport, you know, race at the bottom entry level and show people how much fun it is to have the most limited vehicle on the track. And just go bash the hell out of that. It's like beating a stock car in high school, but it just takes it, and it's so much freaking fun. Like, if you had to put fun and cost and stress all on the same plate as racing trophy truck class versus the class 11 class, I'm gonna pick class 11 with my knowledge, my experience, and everything. I'm going to pick the class 11. Do I want to go race the TT bug more? Absolutely. My bank account just says otherwise right now.
You're going to have to create some more viral videos that, of course, the entire internet and all of off-road racing and pretty much the entire United States and the world will probably see. Thank you so much, Blake. And wrapping things up, I just want to head back over to Guy real quick. Guy, you've heard some great stories that Kyle said. You've heard some amazing stories from Blake as well. And now you're encompassed in all of this. To really sum this up, what does it mean to have a personality, a friend represent your brand like Blake Wilkie?
Well, yeah, I mean, he's kind of like, you know, I've talked about this in several occasions, but my plans for him are far greater than what we're doing right now, and he's just kind of one of my cornerstones of the brand. He really is. I mean, we did the first Urban Assault together. I mean, or, you know, what little I gave to it, but Surface was a part of that, and you know, the ideas and the stuff that we have are just to work with Blake and integrate Blake. I want to my you know, like Kyle, my fan. I'm a super giddy fan of off-road racing, and Blake just is such a major part of that for me, for my business. I want to put Blake in, you know, some of our distribution channels, like we talked about, like Sportsman's Warehouse or Nordstrom Rack, or, you know, these really cool spots where Blake, you know, people don't see people like Blake, and it's such a special and powerful visual message sometimes when you see something like the TT bug and what Blake's doing, and then, you know, obviously introducing those people to Blake. And I want to do more of that kind of stuff. It's just such an important part of our brand.
Gentlemen, Alex is back. Hey, thank you very much, Tiffany. That was great. Thank you for running that session. Was it you, Kyle, or was it you, Guy, who said that Blake is the glitter? That was interesting when we were talking about this session before. Who said that? And go into that real quick.
Yeah, no, that was me. Yeah, there's just, yeah, we were trying to come up with a good word for him, and that's the only thing that made sense, I think.
That is great. That is great. Well, thank you.
Yeah,